Hey, Bulls Nation, it's your girl Queen Chill Mode back again with another series. And in this series, I'll be spotlighting the Chicago Bulls in the free agency period. I'll discuss a few of our own free agents that I hope to re sign, as well as a few of other free agents that could very well be on the Chicago Bulls radar. Up first, I'll be discussing our own free agents and a few that I hope we do re sign. We have three restricted free agents. We have Ryan Archidiakono, David Nwaba, and of course Zach LaVine that are restricted free agents. For those of you who are new to NBA or not familiar with NBA terminology, a restricted free agent is a player that has the ability to go out and negotiate a contract with another NBA team. They can sign an offer sheet with that team, and their original team, being our Chicago Bulls, actually have the option to match that offer and to retain that player. Up first, I'll be discussing Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine is a player that came to us, as you all know, as part of the Jimmy Butler trade. He was considered to be the centerpiece of that trade at the time when it originally happened, with him coming to us along with Chris Dunn in the seventh pick of the 2017 draft that ultimately became Lauren Marketing. Now, Zach LaVine was a player when we made the decision to make that trade. We went into it knowing full well that he was recovering from an ACL tear. He would more than likely join us mid-season to jumpstart his Chicago Bulls career. And he did come back and had a few games that were very promising. He ultimately ended up playing 24 games for us, averaging about 16 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. And where it showed in which he did come back mid-season was, of course, in his shooting percentages, as he shot 38% from the field overall and 34% from three-point range. Of course, those numbers were down from the year prior, prior to his actual injury, in which he shot 45% and 38% from the three-point line, respectively. He certainly, like I said before, looked like a player who was recovering, but he also had moments and glimpses of showing what he could do. His athleticism, seemed to remain intact. He was able to display a variety of athletic moves for dunks, layups, going to the basket, and whatnot. But what I want to discuss about Zach LaVine is I just truly hope the Chicago Bulls and Zach can find some common ground. And the reason why I say that is because there have been reports that the Chicago Bulls may not be all in on re-signing Zach LaVine. There's a possibility that the team will not match any offer. I won't say any offer. Will not look to match an offer at all costs. Meaning, say for instance, Sacramento. Sacramento is a team that supposedly has Zach LaVine on their radar, and if they decide to offer Zach, say, 20 to 30 million a year, I'm not sure Chicago will actually match that. I don't know if the Chicago Bulls deem Zach LaVine as a player that could ultimately be a superstar worthy of that type of money on an annual basis. I don't know what the Chicago Bulls game plan is going into free agency, and the reason as to why they feel like Zach LaVine would not be a good piece to continue to have a part of this core. We knew that he was returning from an ACL tear, and in 24 games, that is clearly not enough time to truly get your footing back recovering from such a major injury as an ACL tear. So I'm not sure as to why the team may not want to re-sign him. But with that being said, I really hope we do, because he's a versatile player, he's a versatile scorer, and we don't have a lot of players like that on our roster as it is. He's capable of scoring off screens for 15 to 18-foot jumpers, as well as three-point shots. His ability to drive to the basket is nice. He can create his own shot, as well as create for others, penetrating to the basket. He's definitely solid in transition, and we're certainly a team that's looking to be a run and gun team or push the pace team. So you certainly want to have solid players in transition, and he's truly one of the best the league has to offer in that regard. He's capable of creating his shot off the bounce, off the dribble. 1 or 2 dribbles, 3-4 dribbles for pull-up jumpers from three-point range, for shots into the lane, for mid-range shots, or just ultimately all the way driving to the basket. He's a combo guard. He's a guy who can contribute by playing point guard on some occasions, and that's a key component to have on your roster, especially in today's NBA, where you have a lot of teams that are playing a lot more pace and space style of basketball, where you pretty much spread the offense. It is a requirement to have a player that is capable of creating his own shot and his own shot as well as shots for others. And another aspect about Zach LaVine's game that I definitely think would certainly be a benefit to the Bulls to maintain is the fact that he's not afraid of the big moment. This is somebody who seeks out the shot down the stretch. He's not someone who runs away from that moment. I like Zach LaVine. He strikes me as a player who works hard on his game. When you look over his career, how his numbers improved up until the year, of course, when he was, recovering from the ACL injury with us. But all in all, he's a solid player. I definitely would love nothing more for the Chicago Bulls to continue to have him as part of our core. And when you really think about it, the supposedly core of our team is Chris Dunn, Zach LaVine, and Lauri Markkanen. And those guys have yet to have a full opportunity to play a great deal of games to kind of find some comfort zone. I mean, even though Zach and Chris were in Minnesota together, Chris didn't have a solid rookie year, so they didn't get a lot of time to play together. And so they're still learning each other's game. And, if we're going to be a team that's going to get back in playoff contention and hopefully when it's all said and done with this rebuild championship contention, you certainly want to have the core of your roster familiar with each other. And in order to do that, they got to play together. So I'm certainly hoping that the team can come to common ground with Zach LaVine. As I said before, I'm not exactly sure what we may do. We do have quite a bit of cap space. We can parlay that cap space into draft assets or accelerate the rebuild by adding win-now players. So that could very well be a reason why they may not be all in on adding Zach LaVine. Moving over to David Nwaba, I really like David Nwaba's game. He came to us off of waivers from the Los Angeles Lakers. I think he got his start in the D-League, and in the 2016-17 season got a call-up from the Lakers to finish out the season with them, and played very solid basketball, so much so that they had him on their summer league team after that season, and he played extremely well there as well. But ultimately, the Lakers would look to move in a different direction and waived him, and he turned out to be a pleasant surprise for us as we were able to pick him up off waivers. I really hope we re-sign David Nwaba because I love what he brings to the table. He's a high-energy, high-effort player. He competes hard on every play, and he could certainly be, and he's already a rotation guy. And when you think about it, championship teams over the last few years, most championship teams, if not all teams that have won titles, have always had a player like a David Nwaba. This is a young man who can guard multiple positions. He can guard against point guards. He can guard against two guards. He can guard against small forwards. He's a solid defensive helper. And he's a defensive stopper. His upside is that of a defensive stopper. He certainly has the potential to be one of the best defenders in this NBA. And that's the type of player that you certainly want to have on your team as you're rebuilding it, certainly to contend for the playoffs, but ultimately to contend for the championship. We don't have that many defensive stoppers on our roster, or that many great defenders. Between him and Chris Dunn, the two that I can think of off the top of my head, that's pretty much it. As far as I'm concerned, we've yet to see Wendell Carter Jr. play, so I'm not exactly sure if he'll be able to be another added addition to our defensive team, or to a team that we're hoping to build solid defense around. But I also like the fact that David Nwaba is a rim attacker. Now, he does need to work on his outside shooting. That's probably an asset of his game, or at least his three-point shooting. He shot only about 37%, so I think that would be an asset to his game. He was a solid player for us throughout the season, and I definitely hope we look to re-sign him. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you guys for watching, and God bless you all.